Foil Squeezer. The weapon that has been dominating Splatoon 2's meta for far over a year now. The weapon that made so many players suffer, while others became legends on it. And today is the day we're taking a close look at the funny champagne bottle, what makes it so powerful, and how you can also learn to play it. To fully cover this weapon in all its facets, this video will be split into 3 segments, starting from the basics, what the squeezer even is, moving to more advanced knowledge of its matchups, and eventually ending on strategy to master this powerhouse. So if you're interested in just one specific topic, check out the timestamps. And now, without any more words wasted, let's dive into this guide. The basics. To begin with, we'll talk about the fundamentals. The squeezer is a semi-automatic shooter, but stands out in this class when compared to both H3 and L3. Instead of having a 3-shot burst, the weapon has access to different shooting modes. When just holding ZR, you're able to ink around at splattershot range, making it easier to paint the ground. But when it comes down to fighting, you might want to start spamming the ZR button. This enables much more range, almost matching this of a Splatling, and gives you the threatening 3-shot kill potential. Completing the weapon, let's talk about the kit, which plays a huge part in making the foil squeezer in X tier. As our sub, we carry a splat bomb to battle, with bubble blower especially in the back. The splat bomb is one of the most basic subs in the game, yet it has so many possible usages. You can poke opponents with it, claim and control areas, and one of the most important aspects, it gives you the deadly bubble blower combo, which I will cover in the following section of this guide. To round up the basics, what role does the squeezer play now that we cleared the fundamentals? With its great range, plenty of ways to poke and pressure opponents, and amazing kit to support not only aggressive but also objective plays, the foil squeezer makes a strong and very capable midline. Advanced knowledge. As every weapon, the bottle is not unbeatable, even with all its benefits. So let us take a glance at the weapon's strengths and weaknesses. Starting from the downsides, remember when I explained the first fire mode at shorter distance, which is good for painting? The actual ink output compared to most other shooter type weapons falls very short, making it hard to contest paint-offs. Adding to the disadvantages of this auto fire mode, it has heavy RNG, what brings risk to close combat fights, as you are forced to either rely on some luck or hit all tap shots while in the center of action. Some minor aspects that more experienced players might not struggle with, but that I don't want to hide from the wide player base, are first, the general ink management, with Splat Bomb costing 70% of your ink tank, which leaves you with only 13 tap shots after. And second, your bubble blower taking 200 points to charge upon the already limited paint output. But now onto the advantages of the foil squeezer. As mentioned before, you have a lot of range to work with, keeping opposing slayers at safe distance and even getting the chance to take aim at backlines, forcing them to reposition and leave key points on the map. By that, the foil squeezer gains huge power over the entire match, as it can space, claim and hold big areas. Its well-rounded kit perfectly supports this playstyle, enabling lots of different ways to utilize, especially the bubble blower. In the following, I'll be quickly analyzing how to boost what the squeezer gives you, what gear to use. There are 3 main traits of the weapon which either need some compensation or deserve to be pushed further. Those are paint, mobility, and the special. Keeping this in mind, we have a variety of abilities to choose from. Most of the time you want to run last-ditch effort to fix your ink output over the course of a game. In some cases does ink recovery a similar job. Next up, special power up. You always want to have at least 3 subs of it, but it can possibly be stacked up to a pure. One build that gained a lot of popularity and caught my eye over a year ago was brought to the scene by Chocopero. It features a main of run speed and an additional 3 subs of swim speed, presenting the first mobility-focused gear for the Squeezer. Those two abilities are worth testing around with, as they really help the weapon in combat, and on certain maps you will become unstoppable. Talking about strategies, just like on any other shooter, you want to think of a goal for your games, a plan to follow. With what this monster of a midline is, you can have the match in your hand. Take a look at both your and the opposing team composition, and remember what we discussed in the strengths and weakness section. You then focus certain weapons, stay away from bad matchups on the other side. Supporting the objective is quite easy with the Squeezer in your hand, as you can guide it from safe distance, and with Bubble Blower especially, you have the ultimate guard. And now, this is the perfect time to dive into the considerably worst balanced special weapon of Splatoon 2. Bubbles are, and I have to admit that, too good at anything they do. Whether it's exerting pressure in the offense, securing kills, supporting the different objectives, these funny bubbles are incredibly versatile. So we'll go over multiple ways to pop them, how to make use of them in ranked modes, and some other tricks. In Rainmaker, you can guide the carrier safely to the pedestal. For Clownlets, you can easily set up pushes. You can also secure certain checkpoints when playing tower control. One of the easiest tasks, capping zone. At certain locations, you can even try to stall out the opponents. Bubbles are also useful for protecting your mate's jumps. With all the knowledge achieved so far, we now enter the final part of this guide, how to master the foil squeezer. If you discovered the weapon to be yours, and you consider picking it up, maybe as addition to your weapon pool, you might want to get a hint on which stages favor the squeezer. Speaking generally, there's technically no bad map for the bottle, just some that make it easier to perform well on. I'll give you the list in just a second, and ask you to wait for the reasoning behind this, which will explain itself once we get to the next topic, positioning. Anchovy Games, Inkblood Art Academy, Mako Mart, New Albacore Hotel, Skipper Pavilion, The Reef, Wahoo World. As promised, now to one aspect in this game that might be more important than aim, movement or any mechanical skills, your positioning during the game. The way Squeezer works makes it easy to control large open areas with free sight on your opponent. Keeping high ground increases the weapon's effective range even more, giving it the role of a guardian, locking the enemies out of crucial parts of the map. But you gotta be prepared. In case someone is engaging you faster than expected, you always want to have ink around you in order to get out safely, rather than risking a death in fight. When facing players on weapons that have more range than Squeezer, it is important to play around covers which you can stay hidden behind, but being able to peek from to take aim on the other side. Another thing to keep in mind are player rotations, remembering routes that opponents will most likely take when either pushing, backing off, or typical hiding spots. We now move on to one of the, if not the most useful tool in the entirety of Splatoon 2, the minimap. And this is not reserved to just Squeezer players. Everyone profits when pressing X on the controller every now and then. As there is a tutorial on efficient map usage already, I won't go too much into detail. Link to said video is in the description below. But I still want to give you an overview of the most important information you can get from a quick glance at the map. Analyze paint control. Find your teammates' positions. Guess opponents' positions. Keep possible flanks in mind. Look out for both your and opposing squid beacons. Check typical hiding spots. Track weakened or marked opponents. And you should definitely keep an eye on everyone's gear and check for the abilities in the bottom right. Last ditch effort, opening gambit, comeback, tenacity, ninja squid, respawn punisher, thermal ink, haunt, object shredder, stealth jump, and drop roller. As we're slowly ending this guide, let me talk about something that most might have expected to be mentioned earlier. How do you learn the mechanics of a squeezer? This is one of the most popular critiques when it comes to this specific semi-automatic. People feeling left out because they can't mesh ZR. When picking up the weapon, it's just natural to struggle with the tap shots, both speed and aiming wise. The squeezer requires commitment, patience, and tenacity. Develop a warm-up and practice routine to do on a daily basis before diving into the games. Even if you experience days where nothing seems to work out, don't give up. Stick to what you're doing or ask for advice. This was Master RS, your today's squeezer guide. Thank you so much for staying with me through the entire video. I'd highly appreciate a like and subscribe to this channel, as this was one of my biggest projects, gathering information, recording footage, and writing the script, and editing everything together. Links to all helping hands are in the video description below. Go check them out. And if you have any more questions or need further explanation, feel free to ask in the comment section or DM me on Discord, MasterRS4321. And with that, I hope you're having a good day. I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.